All-in-one polishes and one-step polishes. Are they the same thing? What are they exactly? They're a part of machine polishing or paint correction. So we're going to demystify all of that in this video. So what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan the Organizer. So in the first two-part series of this four-part video, we did the best compounds, the best polishes. Now we're doing the best all-in-ones and one-steps, and we're going to finish with the best pads. So as you guys know, this is not a tutorial on paint correction per se. I already have great tutorials on that, especially if you're a beginner and you want to learn the ropes of the pads, the compounds, the polishes, the machines, how do they all work, how do you use all that. So I'll leave those linked in the description under the video. Also, I remind you that the products I'll be talking about, I'll drop the links to those in the description as well for you guys to check them out. So all you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Also, quick disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody paid for this video. I'm just sharing my thoughts, my tips, my tricks with you guys, my viewers. And by the way, thank you for being faithful to the Pan the Organizer channel. You guys have made this one of the biggest car detailing channels on YouTube, and I have you to thank for that. Paint correction. Again, what is that in general terms for those who might be new to it? Is you're basically correcting or removing defects from the paintwork. That can be oxidation, swirls, or scratches, or some hazing, some love marks from the hand washing or hand drying stages, so on and so forth. So you're refining that surface to increase gloss, increase the depth, increase the color pop and the clarity of the finish, and also again remove those defects to get a better looking vehicle overall. So that's machine correction or paint correction, however you want to call it, machine polishing. So the general things that you'll need, well, are polishing compounds. Those are the liquid abrasives. You're going to need pads, and you're going to need the machine polishers, right? Regardless if they're dual action, rotary, or gear driven, it doesn't matter. So what we're covering in this video are a bit of the liquid compounds or polishes, more specifically all-in-ones and the one-steps. So to clarify what those are, first of all, if we're looking at the compounds in general, compounds is a general form to talk about the first step, which is the bigger abrasives. That's to remove the heavy swirls and scratches and the deep oxidation. So they have more coarse or bigger abrasives inside the liquid. So that's the first step of paint correction if you have deep defects to remove or heavy oxidation. And then you move to a refining stage, which is called the polish. So polishes are again liquid abrasives, but they have smaller abrasives inside there. So they're made to remove the sanding marks left by the compounding stage. They're going to further increase the depth and clarity of the paint, increase the gloss as well, remove some of the hazing perhaps from the compounding stage. So if you have only light defects or light oxidation on the surface to remove, you can let go of the compound and just use a polishing stage if you want. But again, check my paint correction tutorial for more on all of that. Also very important to note is I often get asked the question, what's the best compound? What is the best polish? There's no straight answer to that because it depends on you. It depends on the level of finish you're looking for, if you're a DIYer, or the level of finish your customer is paying for if you're a professional, right? They might want just a paint enhancement. They might want a one-step paint correction, a two-step paint correction, sometimes a three-step paint correction. It really depends on their budget, their needs, and their expectations. Always have that discussion with your customers. And also, it really depends on the paint type. So there are soft clear coats, there are medium clear coats, there are hard clear coats. Even within the same car manufacturer in the same year, sometimes they change paint suppliers, and that clear coat on the same model even can go from hard to soft or can go from soft to medium. And so the important thing is before you start your paint correction, do test panels. So either on the hood or on a flat panel, look at the defects and try and do some different tests and combinations to find the right one or the right polishing and pad combo, or the right compound and pad combo for the defect level removal you're looking for, the type of finish you're looking for. So you're going to do some small test sections, take a compound and a pad, do a test, observe the results. Move on to the next section, perhaps change the pad with the same compound, look at the results. And then change the compound and with the initial pad, look at the results. Basically, what you're trying to figure out is which is going to be the best one for your scenario and desired outcome. There is no such thing as only one product you can have in your arsenal that does it all. If someone tells you that, they are lying. That's why you're going to see guys that have multiple different compounds and polishes in their arsenal so they can tackle those different tasks. There might be a product that works well on one painted surface and does the defect removal you want. You're going to try that on a different vehicle and it doesn't work. And another product that wasn't working well on your first vehicle will work well on the second vehicle, so on and so forth. So it's important to do test spots. Also, you want to minimize the heat, because heat on the surface is what diminishes the efficiency. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you want a cool surface and you want to keep the polishes and compounds working as optimally as possible, and that's by rejecting the heat, either with the pad technology, which we're going to talk about in the pad video, or some of them have cool technologies inside their abrasives to minimize the amount of heat accumulation, which is key. Also, work with clean pads. You're going to see me say that in all the videos. Work clean. So your liquids inside them, they contain lubricants, they contain different chemistry in there, and when you're using them on the surface, it eventually is going to clog the pores of the pads, and clogged pores mean less cutting efficiency. So often you're going to change pads to new fresh pads while you're doing a vehicle. For example, on an average size car, I will use 4, 5, or 6 different pads for the compound stage, 4, 5, 6 different pads for the polishing stage. So change pads often, and also on that pad that you're using, maybe 1 or 2 passes, clean the pad, or every other panel, clean the pad before you switch them out even. It can be using an air compressor if you have one with an air blowout tool like a Tornador to blow off the residue that's in the pad. You can use a pad brush. You can use a pad washer like Lake Country System 4000. That's basically a bucket in which there's a liquid. There's a pump system up top. You're pumping the pad with the machine and there's liquid injected inside the pad to flush out the residue and the chemicals, and you're going to air dry the pad by spinning it, and then you're good to continue. Or there's some other pad washers. Basically, I have a video on how to clean your polishing pads, so check that out. I'm going to leave that linked again in the description. There's some pretty cool information in there. So work clean. The less residue you have in your pads, the more cut you're going to get, the more efficiency and higher speeds you're going to be able to work at. Also, to prevent any slinging of your compounds or polishes, we don't want that white liquid flying all over the place, right? So when you apply it on your pad, put your pad directly on the surface and then start spreading the product on the surface at low speeds. So that's how you're going to spread the product. And then when you spread that product, you increase the speeds to higher speeds on your polishers, because when we're doing compound or polish, when we're doing paint correction, you're working at higher speeds. So that's how you prevent slinging. Now, the products that I'm talking about today we spoke about compounds in the first video, polishes in the second video. So those are abrasives. They are what we call pure compounds and pure polishes, meaning there's no protection inside there. Today, we're going to be covering all-in-ones. So all-in-one polishes are basically polishing compounds, so liquid abrasives, that also contain some form of paint protection in them. It can be in the form of a wax, like a Montan wax. It can be a synthetic paint sealant, or even some newer ones now have a bit of ceramic technology in there. So basically, you're doing 2 things at once. You're correcting, so doing some improvement on the surface, removing light defects, and then you're also adding a bit of protection also. So when would you use these? So for example, if your customer doesn't require a full-blown ceramic coating, or they don't have the budget for that, but they would like some form of protection after a light correction, we usually call those paint enhancements. So they're basically a quick one-step polish, nothing too in-depth, to greatly improve the visual appearance of the vehicle without going too crazy. Because don't forget, every time you're compounding or polishing, you're removing a bit of that top clear coat layer, right? You're shaving off a bit of that top part to remove the defects. You're flattening the surface, so you're getting better light reflection, better gloss, increase in clarity, more pop to the paint, and all that kind of stuff. But you want to be careful. So you're not always aiming for 100% paint correction because you're going to be removing too much of that clear coat. And we always want to preserve as much clear coat as possible, because guess what? In that clear coat, in the top portion, that's where all the UV blockers for your paint are. So if you're shaving too much of that off, if you're polishing multiple times a year or chasing 100% defect removal and paint correction, which you wouldn't do on a daily driven vehicle, well, you're diminishing that clear coat level. You're eventually going to get clear coat failure or not enough material left to protect the paint. So don't forget, on your metal, there's a 3-part system on modern clear coats, right? You're getting the base, the primer on the metal, then you're getting the base coat, which is the color coat, and the top layer, that shiny clear one, is the clear coat. Overall, those 3 layers are only typically 4 to 6 mils on modern vehicles, so paints are getting thinner and thinner. Yes, they're higher performance, they have better gloss, so on and so forth, but they're thinner and thinner, so you got to preserve as much clear coat as possible. The only times I would really aim for 100% paint correction or perfection would be if you're entering a concours d'elegance at a Pebble Beach event, for example. If your car is a garage queen or kept in a museum, it's something special like a hypercar or a rare vehicle. In those rare instances where it's not really going to be daily driven, that's when you'd likely chase that 100% paint correction. And again, you wouldn't do that too often because you want to preserve the clear coat. But typically you're going to aim for 75 to 85, perhaps 90 or 95 for a 2-step. If you're just doing a light paint enhancement, 75 paint correction is already a great improvement, guys. Don't forget, when you're looking at paint in the real world, you're not looking at it from a few inches with an inspection like us crazy detailers do, right? You're looking at it from a few feet behind, and the best way to actually increase gloss on a vehicle is not through a carnauba wax, a paint sealant, or a ceramic or a graphene coating. It's actually through paint correction. So yes, the protectants will add a bit of gloss units enhancement or a visual enhancement in the appearance, but the best way, the biggest measurable increase in gloss with a gloss meter is through paint correction, because again, you're flattening that surface, which increases the light reflection because there are less defects, and you're also improving the clarity and gloss and depth and pop and color and all that kind of stuff. So always keep in mind, if you want the biggest improvement in gloss, always start with paint polishing or paint correction, machine polishing, however you want to call it, and then you're going to apply your protection at the end. When you're done with the polishing stages, don't forget to use IPA wipe down, so isopropyl alcohol mix or a paint prep spray to remove polishing oils and residue, and then you apply the protection for a better bond. You don't want the oily residue or lubricants from your polishes or compounds to be still on the surface. That can impede or prevent a proper bond, especially for ceramic and graphene coatings. The ones in glass bottles, you have to have a virgin clear coat free of any oil residue or any previous protection. Now, in this video, once again, we're talking about all-in-ones more specifically. So all-in-ones, as we said, contain paint protection already in them. So typically you don't follow up with a coating because coatings need to bond to a virgin clear coat. You wouldn't apply a ceramic coating on top of an all-in-one product because again, that will prevent the coating from actually properly bonding on the surface. It doesn't matter as much if you're applying a regular wax afterwards or a sealant. If you're using an all-in-one, that's still fine. And after an all-in-one, typically also you would not use an IPA to wipe down because you're going to remove some of the protection that's in there. So after an all-in-one is done, client drives off and that's it. They had a light paint correction and also some light protection. It's not something that's going to last for years like a true coating. It's going to be sometimes perhaps 1 or 2 months to a few months with the ceramic-based all-in-ones. So that's basically it. So if you're looking for a light paint enhancement with some protection in it, that's when you'd use an all-in-one. If you just want some quick correction, no major defect removal, but at least some light correction, a big improvement in the visual appearance, and add a bit of protection at the same time, that's when you use an all-in-one. It's different from a one-step, which we're also going to talk about in this video. A one-step does not contain any protection in it, but the word says it. You're doing correction in one step. So what that means, there are some compounds and polishes that sometimes finish down so well that they don't need a further refining step. So we're going to look at, for example, 3D1 in this case. It is technically a hybrid compound and polish, but it finishes down nicely enough that if you look at your paint, you might be pretty happy with the way it looks, and you don't necessarily absolutely need to finish with a second polishing step. So that would be a one-step. So it's a one-step correction that will improve the surface, but you're not adding any protection on top. So after 3D1, for example, you can use an IPA wipe down to remove the polishing oils and residue, and then go ahead and apply a ceramic coating if you're satisfied with the way the paint looks. Now, so we're going to go over them in no particular order of performance. I mainly classified them, I think, in price or per company. So I'm going to go over the ones that I like. If there are any ones that you think I should be looking into and testing, drop a comment in the comment section. I'm always curious. I'm always looking for new and great things to test. My viewers live in different countries. Sometimes there are things or brands in your countries that I might not have access to that I would be curious to know for other viewers' knowledge as well. And if you have tested any one of these and have a personal experience, good or bad, with the specific product, let us know. Drop a comment, give us feedback. What type of paint was it? Soft, medium, hard? What kind of vehicle? What were the issues you were looking to correct? Why did it not work, or how good it performed, if it performed well for you? And yeah, just let us know. It's always nice to have a chat. So let's start with the first one. This is a classic in the all-in-ones. I'll mention, by the way, if I'm talking about an all-in-one, so meaning a correction and protection, or a one-step, meaning a pure polish or compound with no protection in it. So 3D Speed, this one here comes in at $27.99 USD for 16 ounces. 3D are known for their awesome raw chemicals that they use, or their raw supplies that they use to make their own compounds and polishes. And this one here, it's a great polish and protectant. So it's again, all-in-one. It leaves behind a light layer of a synthetic paint sealant and Montan wax. So you're not looking for crazy durability, but this one here, they call it Speed because it cuts pretty quickly, especially if you use their system and their pads. We're going to talk about pads in my other video specifically on pads, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, it's a correction glaze, so there's some fillers in there. When you hear glaze, by the way, keep in mind that that's probably adding some light fillers, so you're not necessarily getting true paint correction with compounds or polishes that do not contain any fillers, but this is meant to also mask some light defects on there. So when you're doing a all-in-one polish, you want to mask those light defects, do a bit of defect removal, and you're also adding the protection. So 3D Speed, it's a staple in the industry. Many people like it for that. Now, second one. This one here is what I call a one-step. So this is 3D1. It took an award in my 2023 Car Detailing Products Awards for one of my favorite compounds and polishes. This is a hybrid. So it basically is a compound and polish. Isn't that weird? Well, that's because it has abrasives that are medium kind of size, and it can do both. It can cut and finish down pretty awesome with just one product, hence the name 3D1. So if you finish this and you look at the paint and it looks good to you, well, usually you might not need to finish off with another refining or polishing or jeweling step after this. So it works quite well. The price for 3D1, by the way, $29.99 USD for 16 ounces. It has little to no dusting. It's great finishing ability, perhaps except on the softest of paints. I have a few Japanese makes in mind, like Honda's, especially the black finicky soft paints on some vehicles. But again, do test spots, by the way. And it holds its lubrication for a long time. So we all know lubrication leads to more working time, so more lubrication on the surface, less pad skipping, and also better pad gliding, also less heat buildup, all that kind of stuff. So 3D1, really a staple. I absolutely love this as a one-step. Made in the USA, by the way, for 3D. Their raw materials are great. I met with Tunch, the previous CEO and owner and chemist of 3D. Don't quote me on this, but I think they've been sold to a private equity. But yeah, he was great. I met him at SEMA, and I saw how passionate he was about the chemistry, the formulation, and even the raw ingredients that they use. Top-notch stuff. A bit more expensive compared to the competition if you're looking at price per ounce or price per mil. However, the performance is there. Next one, from Carpro, so from South Korea. They are known for their ceramic coatings, like the Sea Quartz line, and they have some great compounds and polishes. So I spoke about the Ultra Cut, compound and the Reflect polish, but they have this here, and I get a lot of questions on this. So Carpro Essence. What is Carpro Essence? This is basically an all-in-one, $39.99 USD for 500 mils or 16.9 ounces. What it does, it gives a high gloss finish, so some light cut, but more specifically has semi-permanent fillers, and also adds a light layer of SiO2 quartz protection on the surface, some light ceramic protection. And this is basically used as a primer before the Carpro Sea Quartz UK 3.0 ceramic coating, their consumer grade coating, or their Reload silica spray sealant. So that acts as a primer. Does it necessarily increase the longevity of those? It's still left to prove. I didn't find that in my videos, or in my testing, should I say. But what it does do, it provides great gloss. And again, as an all-in-one, it's going to do light defect removal, but it has those semi-permanent fillers to mask a bit of that imperfection, and great gloss, especially if you pair it with the Carpro high gloss polishing pad, which is a white, super soft pad, almost no cutting ability, but the gloss that this gives is crazy. So that's Carpro Essence. They also have, and that's another question I often get, look at that, Carpro Essence Plus. So what is Plus? So you see here, Essence Plus. First of all, $39.99 USD, 500 mils or 16.9 ounces. This one here is also an all-in-one. However, this is meant to repair the existing ceramic coating. So if you have some very light swirls and scratches or a loss of hydrophobic properties on the Carpro coatings, it's unsure if this is also compatible on other coatings. It's up to you to test and try, but this is specifically designed obviously for the Carpro Sequartz UK 3.0 coating. Usually you don't polish coatings because the abrasives would damage or hurt the coating because you're removing the coating through machine polishing. But the Essence Plus, not the regular Essence, remember, this is a primer before the coating. You're using Essence Plus after the coating to correct some light defects and swirls that might be on the surface, or again, a loss of hydrophobic properties. How does it do it? It has, well, ceramic coat repair agents, some high gloss resins and hydrophobic nanoparticles, a basically non-abrasive solution to repair fine swirls or scratches, and it's also going to leave behind some hydrophobic properties and a smooth as glass feel. So again, a non-cut pad like the Carpro gloss pad or whatever pad you're using that doesn't contain much abrasives, because you're not looking to abrade the surface. You're looking to lightly correct some defects with the fillers, the gloss agents, and the hydrophobic properties that are in there. So Essence Plus is made to correct light defects on existing coatings. That's probably the only one I know of that you can use to correct light defects on coatings, by the way, because again, traditionally, you do not want to machine polish your ceramic coatings. So next, another all-in-one, in this case, a new one from Rupes. This is the Uno Advanced, coming in at $17.99 US for 250 mils or 8.5 ounces. This is a light polish that basically deposits a layer of ceramic protection that lasts up to 12 months. It can be used, let me turn the label around so you can see, some guys I know like to read the instructions here or have an idea of what they look like. It can be used on single stage, lacquer, clear coat, gel coat, powder coat, aluminum, so on and so forth. So the very important thing is you can match this with the ultra fine, which is the white either foam pad or microfiber pads from Rupes. Sorry, that would be foam because we're ultra fine, so not cutting with microfiber, but the white ultra fine pad in their foam lineup. So that's the one they recommend to use with this, because this is an all-in-one light polish. So remove some light defects, fill in the swirls and scratches, the minor defects that you're filling in, your bumping gloss, but it has protection. They say it can last up to 12 months. That's not what I saw in real world. You're looking more at maybe 4 to 6 months, but we have harsh conditions here. Let me know if you guys actually made it to 12 months with this. Some guys also like to add PNS bead maker after this, after a few hours that it's been cured. Note that this one here has a 4-hour curing time before this is exposed to water or rain, so keep that in mind. And also, it's very important, they also mentioned this in the instructions, before using this, shake your bottle well, because the liquid separates in there and you want to have a homogeneous mixture, so shake it well before use, and even in between sections, shake it again, get that stuff mixed up in there. So this one here is infused with ceramic nano protection. So this is the evolved version of their Uno, what was their first one? I think I still have it here. Let me show you this one. Yeah, their Uno One Protect. So this one here was their all-in-one, but this one here was a regular paint sealant infused in there. And so you see that One Protect. So this is regular paint sealant. And now the Rupes Uno Advanced, that's their ceramic version with longer durability, basically. That's why they created this one. So fantastic product. They make their own. Rupes, by the way, they're a brand from Italy. They make their own polishes, their own pads, their own machines, some great machine polishers, by the way. Next one, a brand I was recently introduced to in 2023 at an event in Chicago with Car Supplies Warehouse, and I visited their facilities. I met with the owner, Jim, who is a fantastic CEO, but also a chemist, and he makes some very, very high quality products. So this one here is a surface primer. So Dr. Beasleys NSP 45. They also have the NSP 95 and the 120. If memory serves me well, they have 3 different levels. This one here is their finest one, or less abrasive one. So this one here, what I really like about this, it's a finishing primer. So not only does it enhance gloss, defect removal isn't its highest thing, because don't forget, this is a finishing polish, but it actually lays down a nano surface primer, but an actual matrix of nano protection. And Jim compared it to basically like fingers on the surface that you'd be laying down. So a matrix that ceramic coatings can actually physically bond to, a mechanical bond and not just a chemical bond like some other primers. But this one here is truly a great primer for coatings because it creates, once again, that matrix. Let me show you this. Like even the packaging, this looks like high-end cosmetics, right? It's made in Chicago, in Illinois. They make their own stuff. $39.99 USD for 8 ounces. It's a bit pricey, but still great value for money if you look at the performance it's giving. So inorganic finishing primer for ceramic coating applications, lays down an adhesion matrix for coating to form a durable bond with no silicone oils or residue, and eliminates also the need for an IPA wipe or a paint prep spray after this. So when you're done polishing with this, it's your primer. You do not need to IPA wipe or use a paint prep. So that increases your speed and efficiency as well, right? So you're done with this, you can immediately move to applying your ceramic coating. So that's one very cool thing. I know my friend Phil Miranda from Miranda Detailing YouTube channel. He's a professional detailer out of Virginia in the USA. He likes the NSP series because it gives him a lot of speed in his detailing business that he has. So once he's done with this, he goes straight to ceramic coating, no IPA wipe needed. And also when you're IPA wiping, because you're hand wiping with a towel, there's always that slight chance, especially on super soft black or dark paints, that you might be marring the surface sometimes. So by eliminating a step of wiping, because you need no IPA, well, guess what? Your paint is going to stay pristine because you're done polishing, can move straight to ceramic coating. So very, very cool technology, the NSP series of Dr. Beasleys. Next, from my friend Ivan LaCroix over at DIY Detail and his partner Nick McGurk, two professional detailers and proud Canadian for Ivan LaCroix. This is the gold standard polish from DIY Detail. This one here coming in at $29.99 USD for 16 ounces or 473 mil. He calls this a finishing compound. They have carriers in there that don't mask the abrasives like many other polishing compounds do. And the particularity, if you noticed, it's in a spray form. So you're not using a lot of this. Basically, you start spinning your pad at low speed and you're gonna use one spray and that is it. You're good to start polishing. That's all you need. Because on many of the other ones that are liquid, you're applying pea-sized drops or nickels or dimes. It depends. Not everybody uses the same quantity, but usually want small pea-sized drops, right? But what is one pea size? Might be different for me, different from you. Are you putting 3, 4, 5? So you're never using the same amount. With this one spray, homogeneous on your pad because it's an even spread, and that's it. You can start polishing. So very, very good products over at DIY Detail. They're about a little over a year at this point. We're filming this in October 2023, so a new company, but tremendous work on this. It works best, by the way, at low speeds. So we're talking on your DA, maybe speeds 3 to 4, and without any pressure. Let the machine weight and the pad and the chemical do its thing. Very important with the DIY Detail. So great price, made in the US. And so the next one, we're going to talk about their pads, by the way, because they also have pads, the majority of these in the pad video, which is going to be the last video of the 4-part series. So consumer DIY that you can get off the shelf in your auto parts stores or Walmarts or online very, very easily. Turtle Wax Hybrid Solutions. This is their one and done compound in their Pro line, 22 USD for 16 ounces or 473 mils. Body shop safe, zero dust, extended work time, no sling, easy wipe off. And they call it the one and done because this one here, I would call it a one step. By the way, the gold standard polish, this is a one step. The NSP is more of an all-in-one because it has a bit of primer or protection. Rupes Uno Advanced, this is an all-in-one. The Essence from Carpro, Essence and Essence Plus, all-in-one because it has protection. 3D1 is a one-step. The 3D Speed is an all-in-one. So the one and done is a pure compound polish. So this means that there's no protection in there. And so the cool thing about this, you can modify the way it cuts depending on which pad you're combining. I really like what the orange CCS foam pad from Lake Country. We're going to talk about those in the pad video, but you can use the yellow pad if you want to cut more. You can use the black pad if you just want to finish with it. Basically, you can increase or decrease its cutting ability depending on which pad you're using. So that's why I like it as a one step. It works quite well, and I think it even surprised a few pro detailers. If you guys had experience with this, not only is it always great value for money like Turtle Wax always does, but this one here actually works quite well. So they have another one in their system that is an all-in-one. It's the ceramic polish and wax because it has a bit of ceramic protection that it adds at the end. You could use that before you apply their spray protections like their ceramic spray coating from Hybrid Solutions or their graphene flex wax, for example, but I wouldn't use that all-in-one before applying a true ceramic coating from a glass bottle. So this one, when you're done, IPA spray, and you can apply a true coating. So that's cool. It's a pure compound polish. And last but not least, this one too took an award in my awards video for best compounding polish of the year. This is another Onstep. This is Oberk medium sole polish. I met with the owner again at that Chicago event with Car Supplies Warehouse. True fantastic guy, really passionate about his polishes. He also has pads. He has a bunch of other detailing chemicals, but this one really impressed me for use as a one-step. See, he even says it here in the front, single step formulation. It's a medium polish basically. And the cool thing about this, silicone-free, water-based formula, has no fillers in there, $27.99 USD for 8 ounces. And it's great as a one-step because again, it works great. You can use it with their yellow foam pad, and you can do the majority of work on vehicles that only need a light paint enhancement. Or if you work, for example, at a car dealership or you have a big lot of new vehicles and you want a quick one-step, I know a lot of pro detailers like this specifically for that task on newer cars to do a quick finish on that. Made in Germany, or manufactured in Germany, should I say. And yeah, just very, very good quality. So once again, Oberk medium sole polish, or sole as he calls it. And that is it. What do you guys think? I'll leave the links, by the way, to all of these in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. If you have experience with any one of these, let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section, positive or negative. Let us know. It's always good to have feedback, but give a bit of background information, right? What kind of paint were you working on? What defect removal were you looking at? Did it work? Did it not work? What reasons do you think? What's your favorite polish or compound or one-step in this case? What's your favorite all-in-one? What's your favorite one-step? Because that's the video specific to that. If you haven't seen the other 2 previous videos, by the way, the best compounds and the best polishes, I'll leave those linked in the description. And yeah, thanks for being there. Thanks for watching. And in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.